Everyone on YouTube is lying to you. Prompt engineering, it's dead. Think of it in this way. You have a prompt, you're giving it, you're tweaking the prompt for hours just to give it to AI and then just get a decent enough answer. Is the amount of time and effort even valid? I don't think so. Think of it. It's more like you're asking to act like a copywriter, act like a data analyst. It's more like asking an 8-year-old to act like an 40-year-old adult. That's something that you're doing indirectly. So prompt engineering alone is not enough. What we need instead is context engineering. So these are the three main things that you will learn today. What exactly is context engineering and how to implement it in AI in such a way that you always get the best possible result. By the end of this video, you'll know how the pros actually use AI to get the best possible result, not using prompts, but by using something called as context. For this, you need to understand three main points. Starting off, which is the brain versus the book of the AI. How does it work? Now think of it. AI has a brain. It's how it thinks, it's how it explains this, it's how it generates the answers. But if you're not giving it the right resources to give the answer, it will hallucinate. So, what the AI is mainly trained on is from its own training data, which means it doesn't have the information about you. Think of it in this way. I have a maths professor with me and I want him to do my taxes. If I tell him to just do my taxes, would he be able to do that? He wouldn't. Why? First, he doesn't have the information about my taxes. And second, you have to train him or help him understand how taxes are calculated. So these are two different things. Now, so what you need to understand here is you have to obsess over the context or the prompt that you're giving. Give it the right information, give it the right data, and you'll get the right answer. That means you have to understand what is context engineering. So our second point, what exactly is context engineering? So think of it in this way. In simple terms, it is giving AI the right information at the right time when it needs. So, for example, let's take another example of I'm asking to write a mail, write a sales email. I want to give a sales pitch to the sales email. I want to do a cold email. I could just ask it to give a cold email, or I can provide it context. What can the context be in this sense? I can give it my 10 best performing sales emails of all time and then ask it to take these as the reference, understand what these are, and then generate the answer. Do you think there will be a difference in the answer? Exactly. There would be a lot of difference because I've given it the best performing stuff. It's going to look at that data and accordingly give its output. This helps us to give the best possible answer without altering with the training data. So what we are doing is we are giving it the exact context that is needed for it to give the answer. So the magic is not in the question that you're asking, but in the context that you're giving. How do we implement it? This is the third point. You have to look for all the possible data points that are present. So for the AI to get the best possible answer, which means you have to give the best possible context. And to give the context, you have to first analyze what exactly is to be given. So you have to think of these three main points. First, are there any rules that it has to follow? Which might be, okay, I want to give data about the rules, how to analyze this data. Second, I want to give it examples as a context. What would be in my examples? I can give it an example of input that I'm giving. For example, I'm giving input CSV file, and how should the output CSV file be? CSV file be. So if I'm giving it examples as a context, it will be able to generate the answers better. 3 guardrails. What it has to do and it doesn't. Do's and don'ts. If it knows exactly all these three, the rules, the context, what it is doing, the do's and don'ts, and giving it examples as a context, it will be able to generate answers correctly. Moving on to a bit more advanced topic, which is, okay, Sohan, so you're telling every time I give a prompt, I give in my knowledge, which is the database or knowledge base that I have, and then I would generate the output or ask it to generate the output. That is one way to do it. But how do I do it dynamically? Which means how do I make it do automatically, like it going and getting the context itself rather than me feeding it every time? That method is called as RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. It is one of the most core basic topics in AI. And if you want a video on that, do let me know in the comments. It can't be covered in this video, but we'll look at it to cover it. So RAG is mainly, it will go fetch the relevant context accordingly and then generate the answer. So it is itself going, getting the context and generating the answer. This is what separates what someone would just do, like act as a data analyst. Now, so let's take the previous analogy. Asking an 8-year-old to act as a 40-year-old. What's the difference between an 8-year-old and a 40-year-old? The thing is, it's the experience. And what does experience give? It gives us knowledge and data. That's exactly what we're doing with the AI tool here. We're giving it the exact context, which has the data and the knowledge that is needed for it to generate the outputs, the rules, the knowledge it needs. And that's all you have to look at. If you give it the right information, the right context, it is almost perfect. You always get the perfect answers that you're looking for. That is it for today. Thank you. I did not press record. Or did I?